So hello again. So we're going to
Hello.
talk about all one versus alone. We're getting a lot of people are and a lot of people are reaching out. I'm sure and you guys are noticing it all yourself where they're not sure what they need to do because these energies are very different feeling, right? We talked yesterday about the symptoms of raising consciousness, which a lot of people talk about all around the world, right? What are the symptoms? Well, there's some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful symptoms that we're going to talk about. And it is really a test of all alone versus all one. And who do we work on? Do we work on ourselves first? Do we work on others first? Do we do them both simultaneously? Right. So the question for the day is, what do you think the difference is between alone and all one?
Yeah. So Artur, you were the first on, well, actually Dave was the first on the call. So let me start there. What do you think, Dave? What does it mean to you?
Okay, well, I'm Dave Lemons. I'm live in California, East San Francisco a ways. Um, well, I think, you know, learning about yourself and how to love yourself and accept yourself is kind of a first step. So a lot of people think they're supposed to always be helping others and self-sacrificing, and I think there's a basic step where you have to work with yourself and help yourself before you help others, but you can't get stuck in that, never get beyond that either. So I guess it's kind of a dance. You, but you kind of have to work with yourself and then take that out and love yourself and love others. It's a balance, I guess.
It's beautiful. I finally found a pencil that works so I can take notes. Claudio's the expert at this. Artur, where are you from and what do you think it means? You have to unmute. You have to hit that unmute button because we can't hear you. No, it's not because you're too far or too close. There's a button on your screen in the top right corner. Use your mouse or your finger to go up there and you'll see three dots. And when you see the three dots, there'll be a button for unmute. You got it. Go ahead.
Do you hear me?
Now we do.
Yeah. I live in Valencia, Catalonia, Spain, and I feel rather alone, no? Difficult relationships or communication with family and people, and that is a main point to be in connection with all the people, no? Yeah.
It's a connection with your family and friends.
It's difficult, non-existent.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Artur.
rather selfish, I think.
Okay. Thank you. Ken, where are you from? What does it mean to you?
Did you just call on me?
I did.
Okay. Well, all right. I'm located in Superior, Wisconsin, at the far west end of Lake Superior. And Alone and all one. Exactly like what Dave was saying, when it comes into the, do we take care of ourselves or service to others first? I think you got to really kind of take care of yourself to get yourself in the right mind and frame, because I think life is supposed to be totally joyous. And when you're in service with others, it shouldn't be a task. It should be a fun thing to do. And life is supposed to be joyous. And that's where and you're filled with fun stuff. Everything, every breath you take should be just a fun time being here. And we're getting to that point. There's more and more of us are hitting to that, that level of realization that everything else is kind of secondary. And that is also part of taking care of yourself, getting yourself there into that vibration, that frequency, right? That is so important. And when you do that, and I can tell right in this room, that just emanates. Everybody picks up on it, and they start getting into that same thing, right? When you go and leave the house with that kind of an aura, they read it. It picks up, and all of a sudden, all that is, Mr. Universe starts talking to you, and event curtails exactly as you need it. And it's just fun. It's a cool thing. Life is joyous. So that's my take. Other than that, when you first came up with what's the difference between all one and alone? An extra L and one space. Anyway, that's my take.
Thanks, Ken. See,
Kat
I know this.
Kat and I, sorry, go ahead, Kat.
No, you go ahead.
Kat and I were wondering who's the first person who was going to say 1L. And like you said, in a space, that's the difference.
Yeah, by the way, 1 and L look the same when you're typing it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Willie, tell everybody where you're from and what is your answer to that question? What's the difference between all in and all one? Alone.
Hello, everybody. Again,
Hi,
it's
Willie.
nice to be here. I'm from Switzerland, from Zurich. I think it could actually be suffering or being happy. Is for me the big difference between one and all together. If we can make it to be here for all of us,
Mm-hmm.
then you create the power, you create healing, you create. And if you're on your own, you just. That's the way I found. I used to be blind and walking blind through my life until I found that way, that spiritual way. It changed my life from back to forth, definitely. I think it helps if we do things again and again and again which are touch my heart. If we do these things again and again and again, it explodes. And I've just, hang on, I would love to share something with you in the chat. There is a guy called Matthew Paul Miller. And the Jewish name is Matisyahu. And he created, with a lot of people together, a song, One Day. And it's so beautiful. It touches my heart. I think it's something that gets us together. It's just nice to listen to that song, and I put it in the chat, and anyone who wants to look for it.
Yeah, thanks, Willie. I was going to ask you to do that so that everybody can see it.
It's fantastic. It's so beautiful, and
well, I'm going to let you put that in the
do
chat.
things like that. I feel meditation is something that connects us to each other and makes life so beautiful and strong, and yeah, to be one, to be all one. So yeah.
Thank you, Willie. I'm going to move on to Cece. Good morning. Or afternoon for you.
Good morning. So alone time allows for contemplation, and that contemplation helps you appreciate times when you're not alone, because you've had time to think about things and your approach to everything in life. All one. I'm gonna take this from another perspective, and that is that we have left and right brains. One's the masculine, one's the feminine. We have left the left and right side of the heart, or the front and the back. I'm not sure how exactly, but that's my understanding, is that there's a masculine and feminine part of the heart. I'm gonna take this another step further, that we embody a divine masculine and a divine feminine in our aura. No matter what birth sex you were assigned at birth, but we have a combination of divine feminine and divine masculine, and together that it is all one. Thank you.
No, that was perfect. I like that. There's only the illusion of separation. Everything is part of the one, right? Well, thank you for that. And Susan, would you like to check in, see where you're from, and answer the question?
My brain's a twitching. It's the one thing I'm fine, not the one thing, all one. I'm getting to the point where I hear something and I go off on all these tangents. So I'm just sitting here with a tangent. And I agree with what I've heard between Dave and Arthur and Cece. So, but when I heard the word all, I started thinking about the tool, the awl, that puts a hole in something. And then the word one, like WON. So all one, so I don't know whether you can see this. So this is what I drew. So here's a circle. This is the all of us, all of humanity, all of the world. And when you take an all and you pierce the hole in the middle, that's the alone. And when the alone is in the center, all will win. The ALL wins. So,
and you holding that up, it shows now.
Because are you seeing now?
See now, right?
Because
now, one, they're all the same.
Oh, geez.
Right. Now we got to learn to take each individual letter.
Yeah.
And know what its root meaning is, if you really want to understand what people created this system for us to remember. Because we speak in Babel, but that you can see the beauty in each letter when I see them, because I've trained myself what each letter means. I pretty much got them all. So, but you can see not, because it's a mirror image when you're floating it. So we're seeing it backwards.
Okay, so and I wrote this backwards on the paper so that I thought you would see it the right way.
No, it flips it for you. And now we can see now.
Oh, I love it. That's great. Well, and the other thing I just realized in biogeometry, which I'm studying, it's based on the center of the circle, which is everything exists in the exact center of a circle. But when you focus on the center of the circle, it disappears. So anyway, there we go. Thanks. Oh, you're muted, Kat.
That's just a thanks. That was a good rabbit hole to go down.
Okay. Oh, and that's a rabbit hole in there, right? There's the hole for the rabbit.
Yep. Thank
Okay.
you. Hey, Jackie, are you up for this? Where are you from? What do you think it means?
I'm from Florida. Actually, when that was first asked, it was like, okay, got to figure this out. And I find that alone is never really alone. And I think that all the time that I have spent alone has been nothing but great growth and taking time to do things that I want to do, not that society says that I should do. And I like the idea that at this stage of my life, I can be alone, be perfectly fine being alone, and realizing that some of the people that I used to be around, I just don't enjoy. It's like if I have a set amount of time, I'm going to do something else with that time. And I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but I have a friend who lost her husband about 1.5 years ago, and she has spent the entire year remodeling her house and having out-of-town company. And I find that very sad because I don't know how you heal from one thing to another over that kind of a loss of 40 plus 50 years of marriage. And my heart really goes out to people that work in the busyness, and the busyness keeps them from finding who they are and where their spot is in the world. So I guess it's nice to be part of a family and part of everybody, but I don't want to be part of everybody unless I'm needed. If that, but I'm perfectly okay being by myself. So that's good. So I think it's a win-win both ways.
But again, that's a perfect example, being alone or feeling like you are. Sometimes you do need to go into that silence, that 0 point. I don't know if I can do it the way I can't make the symbol with God, the 6 and the 9. Mm-hmm. It is that stillness where you get information, and it's okay to take times on either side, left or right brain, the whole thing.
But you know what's happening in society now is I just have to purse my lips and be quiet so often for not getting in trouble, because people just don't go where I've gone and where we're going. And I certainly don't want to upset anybody, or I would like to create greater conversation, but in actuality we have to do this ourselves. We can't do it for somebody else. We can't take all of the hours that we've studied and we've read and been alone and transfer them to somebody else with any understanding whatsoever. So it's something we have to be self-motivated to do. So that's the best I can do right now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, it's true. And there is, I don't want to say a division, but I do see a separation with those that are more spiritually minded and that are the others that are more material. And it's like we can't really relate to each other anymore. And so it is causing relationship issues and problems with friendships. But all we can do is our best to try to be loving when we talk to them. Maybe it means we just don't go blah with everything we know because it's just over their head. So you give them time, just like the thing I did in meditation in the backyard. When is that branch going to bud? Do I need to cut it off? No, it budded later in its own time. And so will the rest of the world. So we just have to be compassionate. Thanks, Jackie. Hey, Derek, I'm going to move on to you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Derek. I'm from Nashville. And thanks for being here. So thinking about this, I think that it's about balance, because I believe that we have to only look within ourselves. We have to, as we search for ourselves, we know it's a lonely path. So it's an individual path. At the same time, you can't be one by yourself without having others involved. So it's kind of you got to have a balance. In my mind, it's a balance. You need others, but you have to work on yourself, and you can only work on yourself. You can't help other people unless they want to be helped, right? So you got to focus on yourself first. But you can't go through life and expect, to be a guru in a mountain cave somewhere. So you got to figure it out. So that's what I get from it.
No, I think that's great. We can't impose ourselves on others. You have to be a little more careful. So, yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, Jeffrey. Where are you from? What do you think the difference is?
Alone or all one? Well, the answer to this might be a little complex. So my first thought is that we are made of many parts. Are we not? And our cognitive focus, the one we're talking to right now, the one we're talking from, I believe is the agreement of all these parts to allow this expression, right? So my subconscious, superconscious, my body, my mind, all of these things are coming together to answer this question. Now, it's when we separate these parts of us that we can address certain things about us, aspects, body, mind, spirit. And I think that, we can access those single parts of us through different processes, right? So are we alone or are we all one? I would say all of us come together to make one. Now, as far as different people, are we ever alone? Maybe in the higher level, we're always surrounded by spirit guides, angels, things like that, other energies. So just like every cell in our body comes together to make us, maybe that's what being all one is, It's my thought.
I like that.
By the way, I'm Jeffrey in Boston, so I'm an East Coast.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Jeffrey from Boston. Hey, Julie Hilson. Good morning, afternoon.
Hi, good morning. I'm Julie from Georgia. Is my audio okay? I'm using my earbud. Okay, cool. Good. So happy to be here. Sorry I was late. I think alone is an illusion. I think that's the illusion of separation. We're never alone. And that the all one is our collective consciousness. It's the universe. It's our connection to the divinity, to the creator. And everything that we experience, whether it feel like we're judging it or it feels separate from us, it's part of us getting to know ourselves. And that's our ultimate goal, is know thyself. So that's the big dichotomy. You have to know yourself within this unity consciousness. And that's what we bounce back and forth with our limited abilities to feel our connections at all times. So when we're feeling the disconnection and we don't feel the all one, we feel alone, but that's an illusion. That's just our soul trying to learn a lesson.
Perfect. That is the Maya, as they say in the Hindu. I love it. This is such a heady group. I really love this. Nancy, you're up.
Hello, yeah, I'm Nancy and I'm from Maryland, right between Baltimore and DC. I loved everyone's expression of what we're talking about. And Julie, yours especially, because I agree with you. When I'm feeling alone, I immediately I'm now no I'm not alone. So I have all these wonderful reminders just through being more self-aware and knowing that there's always someone with me, whether it's spirit guides, ancestors. I feel my family a lot who's not here. But anyway, I need time just with me, with beloved within me, beloved being in everything, so that I can then be more available for those who are in my family. I have a lot of people in my family, a lot of relationships. So I love that I have relationships I can learn more balance with, and learn how to love and forgive more. And I'm using my imagination more to imagine peace and love and people working their things out. That seems to help, actually. I've witnessed some miracles between some siblings, like forgiveness, like owning their stuff and apology, and I really think what we do in here emanates and ripples out, and I'm just enjoying everything that's going on right now. So I feel very fortunate, and very fortunate to be here with all of you. So thank you.
And we're so happy to have you. And yes, we are making ripples in the water with our being here, with our collective consciousness, raising everybody around us, even from miles away, whether on this call or not. Thanks, Nancy. Kristen, you're up.
Hey, this is great. I really needed this today. I'm Kristen. I'm here in Dallas, Fort Worth. I'm just south of Fort Worth, so I like that side better than Dallas. But anyway, what's happening with me is I have been dripping information to family and some friends over the past 3-4 years, but we've reached a block. I have a particular position about what's going on in Gaza, and everyone else that I drip the information to does not. And I'm also struggling with anger. Claudio, I have Mars in my 7th house, and which means towards other people. And I think it's because of past lives. I've learned of some past lives through Jeffrey where I've been executed for my beliefs. And so I found myself again at a certain place where I felt alone last night. I was talking, asking for help from my higher self, God, guides, etc., and thought I was going to be pulling back again from people, which I tend to do sometimes. And so this morning, AT&T is down, and I'm running kind of like interference or whatever you want to call it between my sister and my brother, both in Cincinnati, and they can't reach each other. So it's like, okay, you're showing me I'm not supposed to be separate. I am finding myself as I keep doing all these things, reading the books, etc. I'm at a place where I really can't talk about the stuff that I'm involved in to other people. I have to go and look for those people that I can be with, talk about certain things. So of course, this is one group. I've decided about the situation with my position on Gaza to stop getting angry. That doesn't work. And I know I've also watched, Claudio, some of your videos. I never seem to be able to make the classes, but I watch the videos. And I'm going to do what several of you have said, just work on raising my vibration. I do mixed with some other groups. One of them is there's a Native American group on Monday through the Native Center, and they do Native American stories. And there's a few of us that are not Native, and it's really interesting that we are accepted there. So it's kind of odd. I just think I need to keep working on myself and, just find where I can talk, and then just realize I can't force other people to either see my position or to wake up. So, I mean, that's pretty much where I am. I'm an introvert, so I don't have any problem being alone. My higher self keeps telling me I can't hide, so it pushes me out. But anyway, that's where I am today. So thanks for all you being here, because you're one of the groups.
Well, that's finding your tribe. It doesn't have to be Native American or otherwise. This is a spirit group in a way, your cosmic family. So yeah, never alone unless you want to be. And there's a big difference between lonely and being alone, right? So when you feel lonely, you go find your tribe. Thanks for being here. All right, I think that leaves Tally.
Hello. I love all your guys' comments, really uplifting. I'm Tally, I'm from Windsor, Ontario. I think that we're never really alone because the whole universe is within us. And while we all go through things in life where we have to sit with it and embrace that alone time to figure things out, and that kind of helps us connect on different levels. And that's what I think unites us at the same time. So thank you.
Short and sweet. Thanks, Tally. Jackie, did I miss you? Okay. So, all of us, different perspectives on what being alone or all in. And Claudio, did you want to answer your own question? What do you think about it?
I'd love to, but I'd love to touch on some points too. Okay. I mean, if you want to take notes and go back to them, but I would like to get through them and just give you what I'm feeling when I hear these. Somebody mentioned about being blind. Well, that's third eye blind. Third eye blind is a cycle. We go third eye blind. Okay, we lose connection. It's a cycle. It's an up and down. It's a sine wave, right? But we're upon the one where we reconnect. So we've been third eye blind for the most part for the last 2,000 plus years. And third eye blind means now we can do things that brings us karma. All right, so I'll touch a little bit more of that. So what happens is, in order to, one of the differences between alone and all one is the understanding now, what now means. And when you observe yourself thinking outside of now, either in the future or in the past, that dwelling in that moment is not connected. You're thinking that you're separate and you stay in that one vibration. So I'm going to give you an analogy. When you walk outside and you found it's way too hot to go and cut the grass, you're experiencing something. It wasn't pleasant. I go back in the house. Do you sit there and dwell for an hour on why is it too hot outside? Why am I experiencing this? Or do you just come back to the moment and do whatever thoughts are happening in your mind? So when we experience something, which I see in people's charts, when they experience something, it's a wave, just like going outside, feeling that temperature come upon you, you go back inside and you don't dwell. But when we see something that we're experiencing, we tend to want to dwell in it instead of asking it for forgiveness. Because if it didn't feel good, it's yours. So you got to really understand what now means. It's the now meaning you can connect with everything, all one, whether you're around people or not. And that's the beautiful part. Because like what was said, Jeffrey said, we're a whole bunch of parts, but we're also all one together, right? We're connected with that love. That's the black hole in every atom. That's the ether. It's pure love. But it's us when we feel a vibration, if we want to stay and dwell in it. It's kind of like your own judge and jury making you stay and give yourself that karmic discipline sentence. But if we realize that if it's our vibration and you ask for forgiveness for ever making that wave of the past, then it clears. And that's important. So there is only now, and the rest is our conscious mind trying to figure out, why did that just happen in that history? Because it's now history, it's not alive anymore. It went by us. When you get slapped by a wave in the ocean, you come on shore, you don't keep thinking about that wave that slapped you unless you had a good time with it, right? It's the same thing, exactly. So everywhere around us, Mother Nature shows us this is the reality, it's truth. But we can't see why a wave hit us, then we don't realize it was us that created that wave. You can create good waves, the good waves come back to you, you accept the fact that I created it. If something hits you that is not a good wave, you don't want to go there saying that that's mine. So that is really important, that we have to understand that we're all wave makers, we're all gods, right? We're the makers of waves, we're creators, right? Center of the circle disappears. Of course it does. Look under a magnet, under a ferrocell, it's the black hole. Light can't be, waves can't enter pure love. That's the stillness, that's the recharge, that's dielectric, right? When we die, we get recharged. That's why dielectricity is used to energize and make a magnet, a point source. There's no such thing as death. So of course the center of our circle disappears, it has to. So why do we call it a loss when we leave the visible? We've been trained to call it a loss. Nobody's lost. They're infinite. They're absolutely infinite. And again, astrology proves it. When you see everything that happens in people's charts is in there, you don't have to get your chart done. I don't mind doing people's chart, but you don't have to get it done. What people should do is learn it and see the magic, because the magic is beautiful and it proves that we're infinite and that we are the wave makers and we are the gods and goddesses that create our own reality. It's beautiful. And now it's time to wake up to that fact. Unless I'm needed, that's a really good point. So when you're alone but all one, because you are one, you are the universe, you're the holographic, whatever you want to call it, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, I don't like making it sound mechanical, but unless I'm needed is fine. So if you go say, hey, I got to take a time out, because you are being told to take a time out. You're telling yourself, okay, you need to reflect, you need to be in the now and start observing these vibrations, asking it for forgiveness, muting them to that beautiful, loving level. But if somebody shows on your front step, they're there for a reason. They need help. It's a past debt. You got to help. When people say, I don't have time to help, well, why? I know that many of us have not helped people in the past, and here we are want to help people now, which is beautiful, right? Because we got reminded. And it is a beautiful thing. So make a cognizant effort that if somebody reaches out and you go, oh my God, I got to deal with this right now. Well, yeah, you do. Just use love and ask for forgiveness. I ask everybody for forgiveness that shows up. I must have been a part of it. I must have did that wave before. It's now my test. What would I do? Well, I'm gonna ask for forgiveness, repaint it in my mind, give it a loving vibration, because I want to be as close as I can to spirit while I'm in the visible. But we do come back. It's obvious. It can't be any other way, because or else it wouldn't be in your chart. It would be random, and we're not random. We're here having an experience, and we are creators. And now we got a whole bunch of a room full of gods and goddesses who are trying to reconcile all this. Right. It's funny because I'm studying law and banking for a different reason, to help work on our future. And the one guy who's passed away now that was really, really brilliant, he said, you shouldn't nobody should get a traffic ticket if it's an accident, because two gods tried to be in the same spot at the same time. It's an act of God. And if it's an act of God, there's no liability. Think about that one. You both hit together for a reason. You needed to meet. There's a new now. Ask each other for forgiveness. Go on your way, and whatever. It's just a piece of material. Who cares about the car? If you get mad about your new car getting bumped, well, there's a message there. It's a lesson. And the other thing about being not native, I would immediately tell a chief saying, what do you mean we're not native? We're all native. We got to get over that fact. I'm a native. I'm from the Samnite tribe in Italy. Well, Italy's a banking name. We're all from the same land, on the same world. We're all native. So we got to come together as all one in that statement, because the other one makes us alone. Separationism. So I hope I gave my portion of it just by touching on some of those points, because you're all right. But there is no real difference, because when you're alone, you're still with everyone. We are that holographic. We are connected. It is beautiful. The story on the Egyptian walls of Osiris and Isis, and then Horus, the child, well, that's us. When you're sitting alone, you are Horus, the son, and you are both the mother and the father. The whole family's there. So when you talk to yourself, you're actually talking with both sides, the masculine and the feminine. So you're not alone. So when you start saying, oh, wait a minute, I'm it all. I am. And when somebody starts talking about gender, I say, what are you talking about gender for? We're all transsexual, every single one of us. And depending on our chart, things can change, and we can say, oh, wow, I feel more feminine now, or I feel more masculine. So again, there's another topic that's out there in the media that tries to separate us, but it's not us. It's us that did it. And now we got to realize we got to come back to one. Because no matter the shape of us, it doesn't matter. And whatever people's choices are, it doesn't matter. And if it's affecting you in your life, well, it's your test. We got to love everybody. And we've all gone down that road, and we learned from an early age on how to judge. I'll stop now. Thank you.
Thanks, Claudio. I haven't chimed in, so I'm going to say I am all in for all one. I believe we are all connected on an energetic level, that we are all light. At our core, we are the spirits that descended down to take on human bodies, to have experiences in the world, to sharpen our soul, to purify it, to become better teachers for others, to become the way showers for others that are maybe being created. I don't know if all souls that exist were created at the same time or not, or if new ones are being created. I mean, I think about people and how we can be like rabbits, so why not in the etheric world as well? So something you said about forgiveness, I think that's really important, because if we don't learn the lessons, what did this mean to me? Why did I have this experience? Then we may have to go through that experience again, like a wave, karmic wave. So with that, I want to talk about this, the flowing in and flowing out also. Water is key today, because I'm going to take us to a little bit about Atlantis and how this also goes back to Egypt. And I almost did my makeup in one eye to look like the Eye of Horus, but I decided, no, that's a too over the top. So I'm going to go ahead and share screen now.
Why not? Ken says to be joyous. That would have been joyous. Every time Ken talks, man, I just get so lifted, right? If we can, how can we have these discussions, learn from them, and then be joyous at the same time, right?
Well, and that's what this is supposed to be about. It's got to be fun, or it's not worth doing, right? So if I make you laugh, great. If I don't, I'm sorry. Forgive me. All right, let's see how I want to do this. So all one, thank you for those brilliant answers. And I'm probably going to have Claudio help me when we create this as a video.
Right, if you stop for 1 second, I tried to do some subliminal stuff in here, right? Oh, no, go ahead with the share screen.
Okay, sorry.
Image. Yeah. It's impossible to be alone. I am possible. when you start looking at all the words, and they're really made up of letters, and the letters you can start shifting around because they're messages, just like the Egyptian walls. Each glyph has meaning to it. It's not phonetics. It's not a language made for us to communicate with our mouths. Academia says it's that. I'm not judging them, but it's not that way. It's not. Everything has meaning. I could talk for 15, 20 minutes on just the letter A, which we've changed what it looks like. It's just basically a circle and a stick, right? A one and the all, the one and the all. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Well, A, the first letter, it is the one in gematria. So you're still right there. So there was a time when even the continents were one. Is this going to do this for me? Let's see. Once upon a time, long time ago, we were a supercontinent called Pangea. All of us were together, and we could walk across the land anywhere and go visit. Then after a while, things started becoming divided. Well, why was that? And I'm not going to read this. I was going to do it like a Star Wars thing, but I decided not to. Basically, we talk about Atlantis, also Lemuria. This was a highly advanced society. They were shippers. They could go anywhere. They lived in these ringed circles here. They had great commerce, great art, architecture, metalsmiths, all of that. But at one point, they kind of lost their sense of spirituality. And this is what we talk about maybe in the Bible of angels falling. Well, we fall into these lower densities in our human forms. And sometimes when we do that, if we lose that connection, maybe something else can come in. Now there's talks about a war with the sons of Belial and the sons of Emilius, the dark and the light. Well, apparently they were influenced by this. They got so material, so into the technology that they ended up blowing themselves up. Atlantis fell, Atlantis sunk. Now, interesting, Edgar Cayce said that all this happened around 10,300 BC, and I'll show you why that's an interesting time. So Atlantis falls. Where does everybody go? Well, you've seen a lot of shows and comics, science fiction, where maybe Atlantis still exists under the waters. We know there are pyramids, columns, fantastic art and structures strewn all across the oceans, not just the Atlantic Ocean. So it's everywhere. Again, signs that we were one nation at one time. Here's the comic books. Picture of the technology at the bottom. I heard they had airships at one point. So it's been idolized in some ways and glorified through comics and entertainment. But it was a real place, according to Plato, according to other great people who studied this, archaeologists. It's all over the world. So where did they go? They went to the four corners of the former island empire, including Western Europe, the Near East, North and South America, and we can find breadcrumbs everywhere in archaeology. And Claudio, you're very good about bringing those up. So I'm going to show a few of them. So here in Mexico, the Tula archaeological region, present-day Hidalgo, Mexico. These are Atlantean statues representing the warriors who followed the Mesoamerican god king Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. What I find interesting is they describe in here that Quetzalcoatl, if I'm saying it properly, forgive me if I'm not, represented Venus aspect, the morning star, and was also one of the four gods who held up the sky. Do you have a picture of that, of Newt, which also is mirrored in the Egyptians? Let's see. Escape. I'll let you share that picture, so I didn't grab one of Newt. He's looking.
Just one moment, because I would like to have had that ready ahead of time, but I just was on a phone call right to the last minute.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. It's all good. Everybody can breathe for a bit to get in a now.
Yeah. I should have grabbed it for you, though.
No, it's okay. I'll find it. Uno momento, per favor.
While you're looking, the thing that's important to remember is that karmic wave, Atlantis sinking, being taken out by a wave, water flooding the whole earth. I think this is a lesson that has happened in history, sometimes on smaller scales, sometimes on larger scales, but it's a cycle that keeps repeating itself until we learn.
Well, the Newt is the sky. Shu is the one that holds up the sky. And then Geb is the earth, right?
Thank you.
And this is us, okay, on our journey across the Milky Way amongst the stars, because we are young stars, youngsters. We are animated by the stars, by our actions, so we are in the light.
You know, I've never considered the word youngsters as young stars. I really like that.
Right. So what the Egyptians are telling us here is this energy that lifts up the magnetic field, okay, in physics/metaphysics is one and the same, and that's Uranus. Because if you look, like for Santos Bonacci, I learned that from him, is that Uranus is the firmament. So in medical astrology, Uranus is the womb. And it's very, very, very accurate when you see people, whether they get a cesarean or they have issues with their womb, it's there. So they're sharing with us the magic, the beauty of who we really are. So I'll just leave it at that, or else I can go on so many tangents.
I know. Well, interrupt anytime. That. Oh, I'm going to hide that toolbar one more time. Computer's running slow. Forgive me.
So while she's doing that, so when we talked about that, unless I'm needed, Uranus is Atlas when you hold up other people's world. So it's your world. And getting back to alone versus people that need help, we still have to hold up each other's world because they are part of your universe and you are part of theirs. So if everybody in the universe, in your universe, is doing well because you've helped them, then your universe becomes pure and loving. So it's all part of this whole cleansing process. So we have to hold up each other's world.
So this is the metaphysical part. You know, we've got the spiritual side, we've got the science side showing all this happened for a reason. The metaphysics, science, and spirituality. So what happened when they left? Well, Atlantis, obviously being in the water, Phoenicians, also great sailors. Is it possible that the Atlanteans went off to that area and continued what they used to do? The greatest traders in the ancient world for the period between 1000 BEC and 600 BC. So after the flood, highly skilled shipbuilders and sailors, great ships, fast, and they learned how to navigate using the North Star to sail at night. Now, where else do we have these breadcrumbs? Look at Mexico and South America, the pyramids, the people called the Toltec, Olmec, Mayan, Aztec, and each of them in their own time. Same kind of thing. Great builders. We don't do this kind of stuff today, but look at what they were able to do. Then in Turkey, Karahan, or if you've heard of, no doubt, Göbekli Tepe. So here it is, dating back to 11,000 to 12,000 years ago, ancient times. It matches Plato's time of Atlantis and Edgar Cayce's date of about 10,300 years. So these are breadcrumbs. Go ahead.
So if I can interject.
Yes.
What they're leaving behind is a message. We've literalized this story. There is times and cycles where we lose our way. And then we try to take these stories and materialize them. And then we're putting attributes to them. Right now, it's the flood. There's a different flood we're upon. It's a metaphysical flood. Everybody's being flooded with love. And love is cleansing. It takes every atom in our body and wants to make it pure. And the water remembers. So these stories of Atlantis that Plato was talking about is about a time. It's about a conscious state of mind. But when we write the stories about Atlantis, we got to try to make literal sense out of it. Put ships. No, because you can start looking, when you see the word ships and then you see that they use the stars, there's what it is. No, we're the ship. This is the ship, and we have to navigate our own ship. We have major cycles. We are infinite. At that time, we went from a certain type of a raise in consciousness level to a different consciousness level. Because we know it's a cycle, we leave these messages behind. But how do you leave metaphysical, spiritual messages without people taking them literally? That's why we keep rebuilding the temples. As this one rebuilds, we try to rebuild monuments for us to remember who we really are and who we're really not. Because we're not a random piece of material. We're not. We're infinite, and we're from love, and we're on this experience. So I'll leave it at that. So remember, Atlantis has been literalized somewhat, but there is truth to it.
So here we go. Like father, like son. The son of Amenhotep, Akhenaten, broke with the polytheism of multiple gods, and he ushered in 20 years of sun worship. And during his reign and that of his son Tutankhamun, or King Tut, they venerated Aten, the sun disk, where they thought Ra lived. According to the Rosicrucian Museum, Ra was king of the deities and father of all creation. He was the patron of the sun, heaven, kingship, power, and light. And do we not all love the sun?
Right. So who's Ra? Anybody?
I am Ra.
Right.
To your peoples, to enunciate the law of one. We wish to impress upon those who wish to learn of unity, that in unity all paradoxes are resolved. All that is broken, it went too fast. Everything is resolved in unity and coming back to oneness. So here's a picture of the person who channeled Ra. Don Elkins was the guide for her, and it was Carla that would go into trance state and talk about these things. So I'll read it for those who can't see it well if you're on your phone. For thousands of years, those of Ra have sought to teach the law of one to seekers of truth, that's us, on earth, who wish to learn of the unity or oneness of all things. The basic law of all creation is buried deep within each of our hearts, because we really are one in love and in light, the building blocks of the universe. We are all manifestations of the one infinite creator. We are the creators. We are not learning this law for the first time, but remembering it yet again, as all mystics have taught throughout Earth's history. Our journey of self-realization is discovery or remembrance of this essential truth, our essential identity, a waking up, as some have called it, within an illusion of separation. So these two worked together for 12 years, perfecting channeling. And you can find Ra and the Law of One to listen to on audio format, or you can go out and buy the books, but it is free on YouTube. Worth a listen. Long listen, but it's worth it.
What do you mean were?
Okay, still were, but still are. Back then, that's
we were there, and this group of people were there together, trying to make sure we left us messages that we could refine again that who we really are. Right. We're infinite. Get over it. You're infinite. Nobody leaves. You only leave the visible temporarily, like when you close your eyes to go to sleep. No difference. Everything around us proves it. The acorn and the oak tree. They're infinite. We're not random.
Any comments on any of this?
Yeah, through the whole process of listening to everybody and then watching the presentation and everything, it's this is basically a lesson in navigating dimensions, really, and how we differentiate between, well, this third dimensional world that we're in, and the family unit and our friends and our co-workers, and how we get involved in that, and how you're navigating into that, into the spiritual side of us, and how we're trying to bring us together. And again, somebody said, all the different parts that we have, and the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies, and how we are trying to figure out how we function, period. And how many people understand that meditation, a simple thing like meditation, should be it's a daily thing, and it should be as easy as tying shoes and riding bikes. That's how we function. Go within. We were told over and over and over and over, go within. It's that simple. There's your answers. And sure enough, I mean, when we take the time and we do that, we find out that as far as Indians and Native Americans, we're a bunch of bright white lights. Truth be told, there is no nationalities. There is no, that's what we are, and how we, and even the genders. And yeah, maybe we played, all the roles through all these years, and so your character could round out and what have you. And there is your divine feminine and divine masculine, and that's navigating dimensions again, and to put it together to how we function, and what's the easiest little simple thing that we can do to bring that God spark within us all out, to recognize the God spark within us all. And that's what's getting us there. And I think that's being woken up at a huge increase in speed right now. That's coming out, and it really needs it. But as that's happening, this planet is looking really dark, because the dark has got to be shown in order for the light to overtake it, and it's got to be released. And so I see that it's all part of the natural order of things. Nothing to get shook up about. This is the program. We all hooked up. We all signed up for this. It's a really cool time to be on Earth right now, and we should just relish it. Our gratitude. That's where we get into our gratitude, symptoms, where realizations hit us all, and you've got gobs of tears coming down your eyes, and you're just you're running down your face, and you're just so amazed when those realizations hit you, and it's just fun. Again, fun. Life is supposed to be joyous. Come on now. I mean, that's what it's all about. And when we keep that, at the forefront of our thought process and our behaviors, and you emanate that aura, people pick up on it, and it's a habit forming thing, and it's fun.
I want to share something that's sort of historical, could be hysterical, but historical. That goes along with what you're saying, about the changes taking place. It said that there were to be two battles between the sons of light and the sons of darkness that I mentioned. The first being the war against the Kittim. The Kittim are the worthless ones, the ones that you would call demonic, also called the army of Belial, Baal. You've heard those names. The second battle is the war of divisions. Aren't we in that right now? And in the end, all of darkness is to be destroyed, and light will live in peace for all eternity. With the end of division, we shall once again be one. Yeah? I think that's where we're headed rapidly, as you say, Ken. I feel it. So all of us are helping push it along.